Ella Cinema back, created by she, her, continued by he, him. How we doing out there? Good, great, grand, and wonderful. You know, Adrian Ellis, every single time I hear that goddamn score, I get pumped up. However, it wasn't enough to save me for today. I don't want to be here. If you've noticed, I haven't, well, not a lot for me, but it's a lot for me. But 12 days, I don't think I've done a podcast in 12 days. And I can't believe that people were actually bitching. Like, holy shit, dude. Can a motherfucker get a break? I tell celebrity guests to their face I don't like doing the show. To their face. I can't. And now Arrow Video seems to enjoy on some level what I do. And now I can't even remember the last film that I reviewed just for me. The shit that, because if you guys remember how this whole started, or how this show started, it was all stuff that you had never heard of before, off the beaten path, and I typically stick to that, but they were choices that I made. Not stuff that was forced upon me due to obligation. I don't even know why. It's just it's a time thing. So I either somebody needs to pay me for the shit, or I just can't do it anymore. It's that simple. At least at the rate that I'm doing it. And when I start to see other podcasts, they're cranking out 3, 4, 5 episodes every 2 weeks or whatever. Oh, fuck. But I gotta be honest. So there's one dude in the UK, I mean, he warmed my heart and annoyed me at the same time. And I got several DMs. His, I thought, was the nicest. But he just went on to say, hey, I mean, verbatim in the message, hey, could you stop taking so many breaks? Or could you not do another break? We really need more podcasts like yours. It's hilarious. And I'm like, you need to listen to some of the other shows, man. I don't know, and I'm not taking a shot at you at all. Just not all of them are good. I'm glad you enjoyed the Hell Hath No Fury with Jesse Johnson and Nina Bergman. I'm glad you enjoyed that one. Here we are with another Well Go USA release. The Emperor's Sword. The Emperor's Sword. During a time of peace, a deadly sword that bestows great power upon its wielder was divided and hidden. After the emperor dies, a deranged rebel seizes power and stages a massacre during his search for the blade, leaving only one survivor. Now the young daughter of a great general is all that stands between a tyrant and his quest for domination. There's got to be another fucking synopsis. That ain't true. I mean, that's not completely true. Jesus Christ. I swear to God, some of this stuff that you hear these papers, fucking, you can't, I think I've talked about it before. I'm getting kind of annoyed at the the Western audiences, they want these films. They do. Not all of you, but there's a big enough portion that wants to see these films. I don't understand why there's only a select few of us talking about it. And what I'm referring to is the lack of information. And I've said it on the show. It doesn't happen all the time, but it happens enough to where I don't like looking like an asshole. So if you can't do some of the research on some of the characters that you've seen before because it doesn't exist I'm going to read the cast to you, okay? I'm going to read the cast to you, and I'm going to tell you what it says on IMDb, all right? So the cast is, you got Mu Fengbin, Hao Yinlin, Zhao Qihang, Yang Qiyu, Pan Ru Yao, Yu Shixu, Ma Qiang, Li Jinru, King Chuming, Duan Zhaoqin, Qi Jiaofei, Ku Keng Feng and Zhu Chang Zhao. Zhu Chang Zhao. You want to know what IMDb says? Yinlin Hao, Fengbin Mao, and Qiyu Yang. That's it. 3 people. 3 people. There is no cinematographers listed. There's no... And I don't know if, like, this... I know in the entertainment industry we're kind of having a tiff with China right now. I mean, it's kind of been buried with everything else going on. But if you remember, they were editing certain pieces and or just flat out not showing certain pieces due to political stances, and which is just wild to me in 2021. It's just fucking wild. Like, I absolutely love the East and am blown away by just very narrow thinking. If that is indeed the case. But with this, like I said, we're getting to the point where it's not hard to talk about the movie, but if you guys remember, I like to enlighten. I like to know, I'd like to show you where these people have been, where they going, where they been. Can you guys hear that siren? It's the beauty of having a studio between 2 fucking hospitals. It's great. It's great. It's great. But yeah, like I especially when like there's work to be a good work to be talked about now with the Emperor's Sword. All right. So I don't know what's happening over there in terms of visual effects. I've mentioned it on this show before, and I guess I'm always surprised, and I shouldn't be, but I'm always surprised when you have these really, really strong sequences. There's several good fighting sequences in this. Great fucking camera work by Lan Qingchu. Great cinematography. Great set design for the most part. Great costume design and makeup. Thought all that was good. And I don't know if over in the East they're just so happy to get it. It almost felt like I was watching, and it does have good sequences. It was honestly, when I got done watching this, I was so perplexed by how to feel about it, because the story, for the most part, like I've seen so many films out of the East in the last 10 years that, like, I'm sorry, some of them just run together. You got an emperor, a Shaolin master, or the Qing dynasty. Whatever, they start to kind of run together. But in this, I get done, the credits are rolling, which appears to be set up for a sequel, and I promise you it's never going to happen. So that's just so I got it. Like, there were parts of this with the visual effects that kind of reminded me of the Iceman 2. I don't know if you guys remember me talking about that, the Donnie Yen sequel to the Iceman, which is just a very bizarre. I know it's meant to be. It's bizarre and comedic, and I know it's meant to be comedic, but sometimes the East humor doesn't translate so well over here. So, or, which I've also harped on before, sometimes the fucking whoever is translating the subtitles, like, I'm starting to think y'all are full of shit because anyway, so back to the Iceman 2. There are sequences in the Iceman 2 where there are visual effect CGI. So if you guys don't, when I say visual effects, in this particular instance, I'm talking about computer-generated images. There is stuff that I don't even think was completed and rendered. Like, I believe there's like a train crash sequence in Iceman 2, and it looked like 1998 computer graphics. Wild. Don't even know how they could have been like here. let's do this. And, much like Iceman 2, The Emperor's Sword, this is another concern that I have, or wonder, because I don't know, because I can't fucking look up shit to see, oh, well, did something happen on set? Was the money mad? Because if the money's mad, then it makes sense why a piece looks like this. Now, The Emperor's Sword was leaps and bounds better than Iceman 2. Let's just get that out of the way. There was parts, Iceman 2 does, I don't even feel like I'm watching a movie. Or I don't even feel like I felt like I was watching like a Lifetime movie for Kung Fu addicts. So if you can kind of see what I'm driving at with there. So it lacks money, it lacks character, same tropes. Emperor's Sword is a little bit better than that. In fact, I think the story for the most part is, for the most part, executed properly. There's a couple times where I'm like, who, what's happening right now? And I don't know if, you watch one sequence where the cinematography is great, the visual effects are great, the action sequence is great, and then we'll go to the battlefield and you'll see, and I understand that it's meant for scale, to add scale to the film when you see, thousands of arrows get shot towards, our would-be hero, and I'm telling you, it makes me feel a certain way, and I gotta think that I'm not the only one that, for instance, in this piece, you have a great, very slow-mo action piece. We're talking, the rain and everything, and we zoom in on the droplets hitting the water, and it's in slow-mo. It looks cool. Kind of reminded me of Wong Kar-wai's Grandmaster, though since Grandmaster, especially that first sequence, I feel like so many films have ripped from it. And it's not to say that we haven't done slow-mo rain or anything, or people fighting slow-mo rain before, but I don't think that it was executed as well as Wong Kar-wai did in The Grandmaster with Tony Leung. But you'll segue a sequence like that into heavy CG and very, they start out this film, so they're trying to bring the two swords together, right? You need two swords so they can rule them all, right? And I'm getting super geeked because it starts out talking about the 7 gentlemen that helped essentially create the dynasty. You had the wisdom man and polite man and virtuous man and valor man and brave man and vigor man and wise man. And boy, I felt like we took a couple under our wing and got to know them a little bit, and we steamrolled 5 other ones. Now, I could be wrong. Nope, I don't think I had taken an edible on that one, so I don't think that I did. I don't think that I'm wrong. I know that I didn't take an edible. I'm pretty sure that I'm not wrong. That we just kind of, you start the movie talking about these characters, and we kind of just threw them by the wayside and focused on a few. And that's fine. I guess I just wouldn't have felt it important to mention in the script. I guess I just would have kind of strolled right past that and then got into it, because I don't mind that the daughter is now on the run with this sword. She's smuggled out as the opposing army who's there for the sword comes for her. All that's fine, I obviously seen plenty of stuff like that. I harp on this shit all the time, and I want to go out there one day, and I want to sit with some, I'll never get this opportunity, but I want to sit with some of these producers and going, what are you doing? What are you doing? That's cool that, obviously we have stuff here, and you could make the argument that it's kind of a monopoly, Warner Brothers and Sony and Universal, and out there, though, it's, 15 production companies putting this together, 15 money coming from different places, and I think it really hurts the film, and I think it hurt this one too. I shouldn't say. I don't know why I'm stuck on the Iceman 2 thing. It's not Iceman 2. It's significantly better than Iceman 2, but I just almost feel like certain people are signed to certain companies, and certain companies throw more money so that the person is perhaps pictured more. I could be wrong. I could be 100% wrong. Like, I know the main character is supposed to be the main character. I love his arc, and well, if you dare call it an arc, but I pretty much liked him throughout the film, which was Mu Fengbin. But there are other sequences that I just don't understand. And it is action packed, and it is very quick. But I rarely ever say this. Rarely do I say this. It was almost too quick. It was almost too quick. Like, I felt. And here's the thing. Maybe I'm a dumb American, and an Eastern audience is going, "Yeah, I understood that. You're slow as fuck. You're stupid." And I would agree with you. That's why I'm kind of torn if, like, I miss something in terms of character development on a lot of these people, because I don't know. And there is just, when you're a critic, and when, and I'm failed. I'm a failed screenwriter and a failed critic. I don't put stock in anything I do. I shouldn't be leaving your film going, I would have changed this. I wouldn't have done that at all, and were we just trying to push it to a 90-minute feature? Because if we were, then I can understand it a little bit more. If we were, I can, or like I said, or the Eastern audience is watching it and being like, no, I understand, every character got its due. But I don't think that's true. You can't start out this shit with, well, the 7 gentlemen were banished to the, Red Sea or Red Wind or Red Sand or something, and then you only focus on 2. I don't know. There were sequences that I understood, sequences that I was like, oh, well, that fucking sucks. They just helped so-and-so. I'm tired of some of these films where you can't just do good action sequences. You can't just do good choreography peppered throughout the film if its story kind of falls flat on its face. And another thing too, I'd like to talk to the Eastern money here. Will you stop putting in pop songs for period pieces? Fuck's sake. I got, the Chinese Celine Dion singing to me at the end of Emperor's Sword, and I didn't know what the fuck was going on. Because the music it was actually one of the strong points. And again, wasn't even, this is why I don't understand. What are you guys doing over there? You don't even have a composer? So I think they're using samples, and then, the only thing that is mentioned that would be a composer, original music by Wang Bei. Wang Bei? Yeah, Wang Bei. So what does that mean? Does that mean that there's only, and I'm sure, I don't really, it's rhetorical. I'm sure that he's only doing music for certain pieces, and some of that music is fucking great. Like, the opening credits sequence, that music's awesome. Like, I was like, oh shit, we are in for a fucking big blockbuster. And then and he continues throughout. But by the end, well, no, we weren't. No, we sure weren't. And I'm quite certain that I've seen a lot of these sets in previous films before, but I'm too stupid of a person to recall which ones. But that's a case in point. Original music by. Well, so, because I think on one of the films I did another Donnie Yen one called Enter the Dragon, again, with original music, and then other stuff, I kid you not, sounded like stock shit. Like, oh, we just got this preloaded on a computer. This dude did such and such. We paid him a flat fee, and now we just own this. For a Western, just for a movie fanatic like myself, that's tough. That's very tough for me to be committed. I don't it changes the tone of the film so often. Again, not so much with this one, but, you know, like Enter the Fat Dragon. Jesus, some of the shit just didn't, like, just from an audio standpoint, like, we have this music that's, like, super serious, and then before you know it, it sounds like a fucking rom-com from the early 90s. I'm not kidding. Somebody go watch that film. It's not a bad movie. I mean, Donnie Yen rarely makes a bad action piece these days, but fuck, man. You're now I'm only here to see what you can do, and that's kind of how I felt about the cast with this one. Is that all right? Well, let's get back to the fighting. If we're not going to give a shit about developing the characters, and we're just going to have, or maybe there was too many. Maybe there was too many, because if you add the girl and you add the, I mean, you're talking 10, 11 characters, and that's not everybody from a screenwriting standpoint. Screenplay was by Feng Lang and Lu Ping. From a screenwriting standpoint, I get it. That's not easy to make them all relevant. You know, they can't be. What did I watch the other day? And I just thought that this cast, RoboCop. Yeah, you didn't think I'd be bringing up RoboCop on an Emperor's Sword podcast, but that's a strong example, Sean. Well done. Think of RoboCop and how many characters are worthwhile. Okay, the easy one, RoboCop, right? The lady, I think her name is Anne. You have multiple villains because you got, what's his name? Shit. Why can't I remember his fucking name? The guy from that 70s show. Fuck's sake. It's been a long fucking week. In fact, the longest week that I've had. Nobody cares. I don't bitch on my podcast like some of you other motherfuckers do. I didn't do my podcast because life. Shut up. Nobody cares. They just want you to produce. I found that out the hard way. I haven't looked at my fucking Instagram or anything else for just a few days, and I fucking look at the message. I'm like, what the fuck? But only one I thought was worthwhile. The others were just bitching. Anyway, I don't even know. Oh, RoboCop. Think of how many good characters there are. You have like 5 villains in that one, and they all work. Or detestable corporate greed. You know, whether it's the people that run OCP, is that what it is? OPD? I don't remember. But I will be talking about RoboCop on I Know Movies and You Don't with Kyle Brule here soon. I Know Movies and You Don't with Kyle Brule. But I just would like to point out that something that was done almost 40 years ago with an ensemble cast, like, you just picked the right fucking people. Ray Wise, you know, there's just the black dude that laughs like a hyena. Tell me you don't remember that laugh. You do. And then I look at something like this, and I'm just, I kind of like, we aren't giving some people their due, and we're giving some people too much. I walk out of the film, and I'm just kind of like, I don't really know who the fuck I was rooting for. Especially the ending. The ending's a fucking bummer. And I've gotten used to that. Like, films from the East, they don't give a fuck about your feelings. I say that all the time. They don't give a fuck. And that's fine. I actually like that. I don't kill the main character even after he did a good deed. I don't give a shit. It's because it's fictitious fictional characters. I was doing hand motions. I was trying to be like Ben Affleck from Jay and Silent Bob. Fictional characters. But that's what they are. Fictional characters. So I don't give a shit if you off them at the end. But this one, I don't know if it makes so much sense, especially when the one dude that got to live, and arguably the only person, I'm sorry if you're listening right now, I won't mention your name. I'll just say, you with the arrows, you annoyed me. Yeah, that's right. I don't pull no punches on this motherfucker. But I'm just being, and here's the thing, I don't blame him. I blame what he was given to work with. And who knows how much time they got to prepare? I thought the film was rushed. I thought the film lacked heart to it. And I guess I'm getting in my old age where I think I might have said this on the Halloween podcast. You have to justify the violence. Well, maybe Halloween's not a good example because certain types of films, I forgive senseless violence. That's a Michael Myers film. But in that particular film, there wasn't really too many people that just died that we didn't know about or care about or whatever. And I kind of felt in this, at the end, I didn't care. And that's not good. That's not good at all. It's me questioning the writing. And I've said this about the Eastern films before, which is why I want to talk to the money. Is there like obligation to like get these out at a certain time? Because if that's the case, you need to restructure the deal and say that we're not going to put something out unless it's fucking finished and it looks sharp. You can't stack. So, what just came out that fucking everybody was hating? Eternals. I haven't seen it yet, but Eternals. Everybody was shitting on Eternals. You have this huge cast, and nobody really gave a shit, and it detracted from the heart that is the MCU, and da-da-da-da. I gotta think that in terms of a giant cast, what we're doing in The Emperor's Sword is similar to, and again, they're not starting their own universe or anything, but I did tell you that it does end with the idea that there may be a sequel. One, I don't know that you need it. Two, why is it? I'm not saying that you have to rip a formula. I'm not. Obviously, Marvel has a working formula, but because of that, I don't see how you could be like, "Yep, this is fine. Let's fucking run it through, and it's going in the theaters. We're gonna." I'm revealing a Well Go USA Blu-ray that's out now, available now. The Emperor's Sword, Well Go USA, available now. Well Go USA, The Emperor's Sword. It's hard for me to take a look at that or to know these things because even when I'm writing, it plays an impact. Oh, well, you can't add that character if it doesn't mean shit, right? And this isn't an indie film, okay? You can't do what you want. So anyway, The Emperor's Sword, it was okay. It was okay. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. And I think why I'm so bitter about it is because I could have loved it. I think if there was just a little bit more time, effort, I could have really dug it. And instead, I walked out going, this makes no fucking sense to me. You got 2 directors, 2 screenwriters, you got fucking 52 fucking production companies. Get the fuck out of here, man. I can't. It don't make sense. And is it because we're fighting in the entertainment industry with China? Is that what's happening? Because then I wouldn't talk like this. And, well, I probably would. I'd just be like, hey, can we stop fighting so your movies stop suffering? Fuck's sake. Ellis Cinema. I don't want to be here anymore. And it's not a joke anymore. It never was a joke. Just shit's the... Give me dental or something. All I can tell you is I have so much coming for you. And it's only for you, too. Some of these movies I don't even want to watch. I would like to see the new James Bond film. Not fucking Emperor's Sword. Alright. Ellis Cinema, Well Go USA, Emperor's Sword. Stop DMing me about doing shows. DM me compliments or get fucked. Or be negative.